Hello, and welcome to another episode of Free Advice Friday. Looking forward to spending some time with you guys today on a Friday afternoon, as always, and answering your voiceover business and marketing questions as we do. And there are usually no shortage of questions to ask and get answered, which I completely understand because, hey, trying to figure out this whole marketing deal is not always the easiest thing. It is definitely not what most voice actors sign up for. When you choose a career in voiceover, you're thinking, I just want to be in the booth. I just want to be in the booth and I just want to be recording. I don't want to have to be thinking about sending emails. I don't want to have to be thinking about doing social media. I don't want to have to be thinking about in-person networking events. I just want to go in the booth and record. And I totally understand. I want to kick things off today talking about Nimble. Now, if you had an opportunity to listen to the episode that I did with Kay Bess, which, by the way, if you haven't had an opportunity to go back and listen to that episode that I did with Kay Bess, the evolution of voiceover, Kay actually asked if she could come on the show and interview me. And we talked about all kinds of stuff. Great interview right here on the YouTube channel. But one of the things that Kay asked me about was if there are any essential apps that I use for my voiceover business. Are there any tools like that that I don't think that I'd be able to run my business without? And one of those is Nimble. You've probably heard me talk about Nimble in the past. Nimble is my CRM, that is customer relationship management software. But I want to tell you about one thing in particular with Nimble that I am absolutely loving lately. Nimble introduced a feature called sequences. What sequences gives you the ability to do is create automated email sequences that can be triggered as a result of various events. But what I have been experimenting with it on for probably about the last 4 weeks is a follow-up sequence. So one of the things that you will hear me talk about is the importance of sending out that introductory email, but one email is never enough. If you are going to ultimately convert leads to prospects to clients, you have to have a strategy for follow-up. That is an area where a lot of voice actors fall short. It's one of the things that I teach in Voice Over Marketing Playbook, the importance of follow-up. But follow-up can be tricky because it's really easy to forget to follow up. So in the past, what I have done with Nimble is I have used Nimble to give me reminders. It's time to follow up with so-and-so again. And that's really helpful. But that also requires me to be in the CRM every day, which I try to do anyway, and stay on top of all of those reminders that are consistently popping up. Sometimes that works better than other times. What you get with sequences is the ability to automate all of that. So I spent an afternoon about a month ago writing a follow-up sequence. That follow-up sequence has 5 emails. So I send a personalized email to whoever my new lead is. And then after I send that personalized email, they go into a sequence that has 5 fully automated follow-ups. This has been a game changer for me. So this is relatively new functionality inside of Nimble. And it's something that I think if you're a current Nimble user, you should absolutely be taking advantage of it. If you have never played around with Nimble before, or maybe you've heard me talk about it, but you weren't sure if it was for you or if it was the right play or whatever, I put a link in the chat. You can go there, you can sign up, you can get a free, fully functioning 30-day trial of Nimble, which I absolutely, completely recommend. Play around with sequences. If follow-up is an aspect of your business that you have struggled with, play around with sequences. Fully automate this stuff so that you don't have to think about it anymore. Fully automate this stuff so that you're not going to forget. Fully automate this stuff so that it happens no matter what. There are 2 main reasons why voice actors aren't doing follow-ups, maybe 3. So reason number 1, they're not doing the follow-ups because they're worried about what to say or they're worried about being annoying. The second reason why they don't do the follow-ups is because they don't have a system in place for it. And the third reason is you're forgetting. Excuse me. So sequences solves all of that. Write the sequence once, set the automations, forget about it. You don't have to think about it anymore. So if you haven't looked at it, look at it. Now, if you have purchased my Nimble class in the past, there is not a sequences video in my Nimble class yet. You may have noticed that. The reason why is because it was still very new. The last time I updated the course, which was about 3 months ago, I updated the course. Sequences was brand new and I hadn't had a chance to play around with it. So now that I've been playing around with it for about a month, I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable with it. And so I will work on creating a sequences video to put into my Nimble class. So anybody who's previously signed up for that class, you will get access to that video once it is created. And I'm able to get that online. So give it a shot. Click the link in the chat. Give it a shot. That's a free, fully functioning 30-day trial. So you do not need to drop a credit card or anything like that, or at least you never used to anyway. So just give that a test drive. I think with Nimble, if you sign up under normal circumstances, it's maybe a 10-day trial, maybe it's 14. And so I just asked them, hey, can we get a little bit longer trial? So it is huge, the ability to automate that stuff. So I've got 3 different sequences that I've created now. I'm probably going to be creating at least 2 or 3 more. And I'm looking forward to getting a lot of automation going on in the background, which is fantastic. So check it out. Angela says, hey, Mark, can you give an example of how it works? So with the particular follow-up sequence that I created, I send the personalized email. That email is always personalized and individualized, that introductory email. So I write that and I send it. Once that email has been sent, I add them into this sequence. And this particular follow-up sequence that I'm using is on time delays. So once they're added to the sequence, there's a time delay. It waits a certain number of days, and then it will send the next email. And then it will wait a certain number of days and send the next email. And then it will wait a certain number of days and send the next email, et cetera, et cetera. So this particular sequence that I'm using based on time delays. There are other different triggers that you can use if they click, if they reply, different things like that, but I'm using the time delays. If at any point somebody chooses to unsubscribe, then they will automatically be removed from the sequence. So I don't have to worry about that. I'm honoring spam laws and all that sort of stuff. And then if somebody replies to one of the emails within my sequence, I have the option to reply back, which of course I'm going to do. And then I can manually remove them from the sequence at that point. So I'm still figuring it all out myself, but what I have played with so far, I'm absolutely loving. It is absolutely worth it. So check it out if you haven't had the opportunity to do it yet. So there you go. There's my spiel for Nimble sequences, because guys, this is going to be huge for you. I'm telling you, you're going to love it once you figure it out. And it's not as complicated as you think. The hardest part, the most time consuming, it's not even the hardest part, it's the most time consuming part, is just simply having to write the emails. That's the part. It took me an afternoon to sit down and write the one sequence that I did. And so, I sat down for a few hours, got them all written, but now that it's done, I don't have to do it anymore, which is fantastic. I love it. All right. Welcome to Free Advice Friday. Of course, if you do have a question that you would like to ask and get answered, please don't be shy. You can type your question into the comments. If you do that, I would just ask that you please put a Q beside your question when you type it in the comments, and that way it makes it a little bit easier for me to see. It pops out on my screen. But I am happy to answer your voiceover business and marketing questions, anything that you guys want to talk about. Feel free. Don't be shy. This is your opportunity. This is what I'm here for. This is what Free Advice Friday is all about. So if you've got a voiceover business and marketing question that you would like to ask and get answered, again, type it in the comments. If you could type a Q beside it, it just makes it a little bit easier for me to see. All right, what's going on in the chat? Welcome, Briscoe. Angela's here. Cindy, great to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Aisha, Richard, hanging out as well. Briscoe says, how often you use social media drive SEO at all? Every one of the social media platforms is indexed. And if you do in the past, I haven't done this recently, but in the past, if you did Google searches for certain things, like tweets would come up in the high results, often would come up in high results on Google. Now, is that still happening? I don't know, because all the companies can't get along with each other and they're all fighting themselves over AI and all of that sort of stuff. But ultimately, yes, there's still SEO value in it. That's why if you go and do a search for Mark Scott voiceover, the results are going to be my website, VOpreneur, my podcast, my X page, my Facebook page, my LinkedIn profile, my Instagram, my TikTok, my YouTube. So you're going to see all of these different things. And so there is absolutely, I would say, absolutely SEO value there. All right, Cindy says, I'm still in the training stages and not close to producing a demo and auditioning, but it is something I want to learn. I'm assuming you're talking about CRM, Cindy. I think now is a really good time to learn your CRM. And I'm not saying that you got to do anything with it yet, other than just learn it and get comfortable with it. That way, when you are done your training and your demos have landed, you're ready to hit the ground running with that fresh demo. One of the things that you want, if you've just spent $2,500 on a demo, you want to market that thing ASAP. You want to get that thing out there. You do not want to get that demo and then wait 6 months to be able to market it. Well, you're trying to figure out all the back end stuff that goes in. So playing around with the CRM at this point, absolutely worth it, because that way you're ready to go when the demo finally drops. Aisha says, the 30-day free trial is helpful because unlike Voice Over View, the learning curve is a little steeper for Nimble. Thanks. Yeah, and that's true. There is absolutely a learning curve with Nimble to play around and to try and figure it out. That is one of the reasons why I do offer a class. If you go to VOpreneur.com, you click store, and down here you'll see, where is it? How I use Nimble, right here. So that is like a 1 hour-ish class, which is just literally me walking through step-by-step everything that I'm doing in Nimble, how I set it up, how I use all the features, what my workflow looks like in Nimble. So, if you sign up for Nimble, here's my advice. Sign up for Nimble, do the free trial, play around with it. If you think it's a system that you would like to implement for your business, but you're struggling to understand how it works, that course that I offer can help you jump the learning curve. But if you get in and you're like, no, I've used CRM before, I think I can figure this out, then you'll be fine. Most CRMs kind of operate under the same basic premises. So if you've used CRM before, you might be okay. But if you want a little extra help, or if you want to jump that learning curve, if you just want to see straight up my Nimble workflow and how I'm using it in my voiceover business every day, then that is certainly an option as well. Hey, Mark. Hey, everyone. I just wanted to say I finally signed up for Voice Over Marketing Playbook. I'm only 3 videos in so far, but it's awesome, and there's so much content. It's incredible. Well, thank you very much for that, Richard. I absolutely appreciate that. Playbook is out now. It is out until the 8th of October. I am offering a special bonus today. So if you sign up for Playbook today, any package, Basic, Plus, or Complete, if you sign up before 7 o'clock Eastern Time tonight, I will send you a resource that I put together called 40 Job Titles to Market To. I have 6,000 people in my CRM. I have 4,000 people in my LinkedIn network. And I went through all of those people and I picked out the most common job titles that I am either marketing to or working with and compiled them into a list. And so I am going to give you that list when you sign up for Playbook before 7 o'clock Eastern tonight. And that will give you a very big head start on trying to figure out who to market to. So if you want to check it out, voiceovermarketingplaybook.com is the website. If you want to go and sign up for that one, again, Playbook is available until the 8th of October. But if you sign up before 7 o'clock tonight, you will get that bonus. If anybody has any questions about Playbook, by the way, I'm certainly happy to answer those questions during the live stream today. So don't be shy if you do. Kim says, hey, all, up to 95 companies emailed to Nimble so far. Good feedback coming in. There you go. That's how you figure out how to use it. Start working away at it. Contacting a certain number of people a day. There will come a point where you'll get into your follow-up cycle. You'll see how Nimble's going to help you with your follow-up cycle. When you get to a point where you're starting to submit some auditions for some of these clients, there's a way that you can use Nimble to help you with keeping track of auditions and quotes and things like that you've got out there. There's ways that you can keep track of different notes on clients. You find out things about them that you want to remember, something you want to talk about down the road. Maybe you've agreed to specific terms, specific rate cards, things of that nature. You can put all of that into your CRM. It becomes a central location for when it is time to follow up. I want to check out their Instagram. I want to check out their LinkedIn. I want to see what they're saying on Facebook, whatever. Everything is right there in your CRM, and it makes your life so much easier. So I definitely recommend it. I'm going to put the link in the chat here again, just because there's a bunch of comments coming in now. And so in case it disappears, if you want to sign up, nimble.com/Mark Scott VO. I'm in the midst of building a new website. Should I wait on marketing to new leads until the website is complete because the URL would be different? Yeah, probably. I mean, you could argue it two different ways. You could say that if you reach out to people now, then you will have the opportunity to follow up with them later and say, by the way, I've got a new website. But the downside of that is, and I don't know what your current website looks like, but if your new website is a big improvement over what you have online right now, just remember that you're making a first impression. Every time you reach out to a new lead, you're making a first impression. And so if your new website is going to make a far superior first impression, then I would probably hold off until that new website is done, especially if it's going to be coming soon. If it was something where you told me it's not coming for, 6 months or something like that, then I maybe wouldn't want to wait that long, not do any marketing for that amount of time. But if it's something that's going to be here in a few weeks, then yeah, I would certainly hold off and wait until the new website is ready to go. That way you can put your best foot forward when you're sending it out and making really great impressions. Briscoe says, what was it like being interviewed on your own show? I have to tell you, I did not know what to expect. I know Kay Bess. We've had a couple of very brief email exchanges in the past, but certainly we've never had a conversation, never sat down with each other or anything like that, bumped into each other at a conference and said hi maybe or something like that. So when she reached out and asked about interviewing me for the podcast, I got to tell you, I was a little bit starstruck. It's like kind of flattering, actually. I'm like, what? You know me? And you want to interview me on my show? Like, are you sure you sent the email to the right person? Like that was genuinely what my reaction was. I don't know if she had a certain expectation for the interview, or if it went in the direction that she planned, but I love where it went. I thought we had a really awesome conversation. I thought it was a very candid conversation, a very transparent view into voiceover and into as the title says, the evolution of the industry, the way that it's changed over the years. We've both been in it for a while. We've seen the industry go through changes. I think it's a really cool presentation of two different people coming from two different places who approached voiceover in two totally different ways, and both were able to make it work, which I think is a great testament to the fact that there's no one right way to do this. And so I certainly think that there was things that we probably each learned from each other. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to that episode yet, it is available here on the YouTube channel. You can watch the full interview live on the YouTube channel. And of course, you can download wherever fine podcasts are given away for free. It's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, all of those different places. It's also on the website at vopreneur.com. It's episode 275. We titled it The Evolution of Voiceover with Kay Bess, where Kay Bess interviews Mark Scott for his own show. And it was pretty fun. Cindy says, don't forget to click the like icon. That's right. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that. Always appreciate the likes. All right, guys, what else do you want to talk about? What other questions can I answer for you? Don't be shy. This is what I'm here for. Website should be done within October, so I'll wait. Yeah, if it's coming that quickly, then I definitely think that it's worth waiting. And then it's not going to create any confusion either, especially if you're changing the domain. I think that's a totally different situation when you're changing the domain. Because then, if you reach out to everybody now, they bookmark you, they add you to their contact list, they put you in their CRM or whatever. Now they got to go back and update. So yeah, if it's coming that quick, definitely wait. Angela says the Kay Bess interview was fabulous. You actually saw two different perspectives and a deeper look at your journey. There you go. It was a really fun conversation. And she's a great interviewer. It's almost not fair. Apparently, she's just fantastic at everything she does, which is almost not fair. But, that's why we love her. Check out her website. Check out her coaching. Trust and be brave. I won the booking against an AI voice, according to the client. There you go. There's the use case that we want to see for humans versus robots. Congratulations on that. That's got to feel good. You know what? Maybe I'm naive. I talk to a lot of people early, a year ago, 6 months ago, when AI was a total buzzword. Every company, it was like a competition for companies to try to mention the word AI as many times as possible in their earnings reports. Everybody wanted to have AI implemented in some way. And so companies who have no business using AI were trying to find the most stupid and ridiculous ways to integrate AI into their businesses just so that they could say, we're using AI, because it was almost like they felt like, you got to be using AI to be in the cool kids club. That's really what it felt like. Like if you're not using AI, you're not in the cool kids club. Your company is not cool. And so we went through this phase, this shiny new object phase with AI. And I did have some clients who were talking about it. I had some clients that said they were experimenting around with it. And most of those clients have come back to me. And so I don't want to say that AI was a phase, because I don't think that it was a phase. I think that it's here to stay. But I do think that there were a lot of people who were playing with it early to experiment. And then maybe they realized that it's not there yet, or it's not good enough yet. Or something that a lot of people don't understand is the amount of work that is actually involved to do AI, to use it for your voiceover. It's not just a matter of taking your 4,000 word e-learning script and dropping that, pasting that into a program, and then boom, it just spits out a perfect voiceover. It's not like that at all. There's a ton of work. There's a ton of, manipulation that you've got to do to get it to have proper inflection or correct pronunciation on words and all of these sorts of things. And so it's not a value proposition for some companies, because now it's actually more work. Like if you send me the voiceover, I send you finished audio. The only thing you have to do when I send that audio back is put it into your project. But if you're using AI and now you're spending hours trying to get the voice to sound the way that you want it to sound, that's costing you time, which is costing you money. And so I'm not going to say that it's always going to be like that. I think there's going to come a point where the technology is going to improve, certainly. But I definitely have to wonder if there wasn't a little bit of shiny new object going on where people had to play with it. They had to experiment. They wanted to play with it. Everybody was talking about it. They didn't want to be left out, but then they did. And they thought, you know what? Maybe humans aren't so bad after all. I'll be very curious to see. I'm sure some of you, maybe all of you at this point, have seen some of the AI generated images that have been coming out of areas in the United States that were devastated by the hurricane, which is just dirty and manipulative. I mean, so dirty and manipulative. I've been saying for a while that there's a trust factor with AI. So we already have trust issues on social media as it is. Can I believe this post that I saw on X? Or can I believe this video that I watched on Facebook? Or is this real? Or is this fake? Or is this misinformation or disinformation or whatever? So there's already a trust issue. We already have trust issues. To have these images that have been coming out in the last few days that are AI generated is only going to amplify those trust issues even further. And if there is any kind of messing around that happens in the United States in particular as we come to election, and AI is involved in any any, creating deep fakes and all of that sort of stuff. And I'm sure it's probably already happened. It's only going to erode our trust in the technology even further, which to me presents an opportunity for an even stronger human use case. And it makes our value proposition as human voice actors even stronger. And so it's definitely something that I'm going to be paying attention to. What is a reasonable amount of money to spend on lead generation? Ooh, good question. I think there's two ways that you can look at it. Do you earn more than you spent? That's the basic proposition, right? If it costs you $500 to get a list, but you booked $1,000 worth of work off of that list, then you're $500 in profit. So was it worth $500? Sure, because you're $500 in profit. So you could look at it that way. A little harder to quantify that up front. I will tell you that if you go onto the internet through some of the different platforms that are available, so you've got your Fivers, your Upworks, your freelancers, things of that nature. You've got VA for VO. There's a lot of different options that are out there. You will find lead generators for anywhere from $5 an hour to $100 an hour. So you can pretty much spend whatever you want to spend. What is a reasonable amount? What I can say, the only way that I can think of offhand to be able to quantify that, other than am I good at getting good leads and are they earning me income, is my lead generator producing? I want to see at least 7 to 10 quality leads per hour. Are they giving me at least 7 to 10 quality leads per hour? And I think that it can be higher than that. But that would kind of be my measuring stick. So if I'm spending money on a lead generator and I'm hiring them on an hourly rate and they are only producing 3 leads for me every hour or 4 leads for me every hour, I don't think that you're getting your money's worth at that point. So I would be looking at, personally, I want to kind of see more like 8 to 10 at least, but somewhere in that range. I think that's one of the other ways that you could measure it. Just starting Marketing Playbook. Should I listen to the audios in that specific order, or can I jump around and listen to the ones that seem most urgent to me? Well, here's what I'll tell you. Playbook was designed the way that it was designed so that you can learn at your leisure and in any way that makes you feel comfortable. So it was built intentionally to allow you the opportunity to skip around if you want to skip around. However, it was also intentionally designed that one module builds off of the next, builds off of the next. And so if you skip ahead to modules later in the course, you might hear me reference things that were talked about in earlier modules. And so that might throw you off a little bit, but you can always go back and revisit those as well. I think the biggest threat when it comes to AI is unethical companies using it to outright steal your voice and use it without your consent for additional content, pickups, games, etc. And I would agree with that. I definitely think that is one of the threats. I think that is why it is so incredibly important that we protect ourselves through really good contracts, through very clear usages. And look, you can have a contract and it can be signed and it can be everything that you asked for, and the client could have agreed to every aspect of it. That doesn't mean that the client can't go and do something with your voice later on down the road and just hope that they don't get caught. I don't like to think that way, but it's the reality. We have to think that way, at least to a degree. And so that's where developing technology that allows us to recognize our voice, web scraping technology that puts our voice in a vault and recognizes our voice print or whatever. And I think Nava's working on something like that, or Tim Friedlander maybe is working on something like that. That's where that's going to come into play for sure. All right. What else do you guys want to talk about? Thanks for hanging out as always on Free Advice Friday. If there's any specific questions that you would like to ask and answer, I am certainly happy to do it. That is what I am here for. So if you have a question that you would like to ask, just type a Q beside your question when you put it in the chat. It'll pop up on my screen, and I'm certainly happy to answer as many questions for you as I can here over the next little while. Again, just that friendly reminder, Voice Over Marketing Playbook is out now. It is available until October the 8th. This is the last time that Playbook will be available for 2024. If you are looking for an easy to follow marketing course that is going to teach you how to find your own leads, build your own client base, and become the consistently working voice actor that you want to be, that is what Playbook is going to give you. I am not promising you 6 months to six figures. I am not promising you that you are going to make a whole lot of money in a short amount of time. What I will promise you is this: Playbook is freaking hard. What I teach is freaking hard. But if you do the really hard things that I teach in this course and you do it consistently over time, you can build a thriving business for yourself. Playbook will not do the work for you. It will not eliminate the time that it's going to take to make it happen. What it does is it teaches you what to do in a more efficient and confident way. So it took me 4 years of deep research, college courses, conferences, books, podcasts, you name it. It took me 4 years of very deep research to learn everything that is in voiceovermarketingplaybook.com. I want to take that learning curve for you, and I want to condense that down to 8 hours. That's what you're getting with Playbook. We're taking this great big learning curve and we're shrinking it down to this big of a course. That's what you're going to get with Playbook. Let's get you where you want to get faster, because you don't have to try to figure out everything. I'm just going to show you what to say, what to do, who to contact, how to find them, all of those things. That's what you're getting with Voice Over Marketing Playbook. So the website is voiceovermarketingplaybook.com if you would like to check that out and sign up. All right, again, if you have a question that you would like to ask for Free Advice Friday, don't be shy. Certainly happy to answer as many questions as I possibly can. So feel free to type your question in the comments. If you are going to type your question in the comments, all I would ask is that you just put a little Q beside your comment. That way it stands out on the screen a little bit easier for me in the chat, makes it a little bit easier for me to see. But certainly happy to stick around. I'm available until 2 Eastern anyway, so I can stick around for about another half hour if you want me to. And if you've got questions that you would like to ask and get answered. So don't be shy. What can I help you with? What would you like to talk about? What are the voiceover business and marketing challenges, struggles, etc., that you would like to work through? That is what I am here for today. Don't be shy. Let's see. What else is going on? What else can we talk about in the meantime? Who went to Uncle Roy's barbecue? Did you have a good time? My mother-in-law, I was trying to convince my mother-in-law to come for a few days and stay so that I could go to the barbecue. And she was actually here at the beginning of that week because she came to pick up a new vehicle. And I was trying to convince her to stay a little bit longer so that I could go to the barbecue. But I couldn't convince her to stay. She had some stuff going on. So I was not able to get to Uncle Roy's again this year. We're almost to the point now where he probably isn't going to forgive me anymore. So I might have to do something spectacular next year to make up for it. We'll see. Personally, what is your must-have accessory for your booth that is not a recording device? Please stand by. I'll be right back. You guys have Studio Cats. I have Studio M&M. There you go. That is my must-have accessory that is not a recording device. It is my good luck charm when I am in the booth. This guy sits in the booth behind me. This came from Las Vegas, from the M&M World in Las Vegas. I was there for WovoCon, and so I found an orange M&M, which, I mean, there's always been orange M&Ms, but they're not always easy to find. Orange isn't nearly as popular as the yellow and the blue. I know the lighting. There we go. If I back up a little bit further, it looks much more orange. But that's it. I don't know if that's the kind of answer that you were expecting for a must-have accessory. But you said a must-have accessory that was not a recording device. So there you go. That is a must-have accessory that is not a recording device. I actually have M&Ms everywhere. I don't know. My office is a mess right now, but if you look, see over there beside my chair, that is an M&M lamp. My wife got me that. My wife and kids got me that for Father's Day. On my other shelf, I have an M&M, a vintage M&M dispenser. It's actually the orange M&M, and it's a baseball. He's a baseball player, and when you pull his arm like he's throwing a pitch, it spits out M&M candies. So that's sitting on my shelf, and I also have an M&M dispenser that is a firefighter. I was a firefighter in a past life, so M&Ms are kind of a thing. I mean, my name is Mark, right? It's all about the orange. You better believe it, my friend. It is all about the orange. Let's see. What else? I thought it was going to be Dr. Pepper, Mark. You know what? I do have some Dr. Pepper accessories as well. Obviously, I have to actually, if you look, you'll see, look on the table right beside the M&M. That's a bottle of Dr. Pepper. That's where I sit and read. So there is a bottle of Dr. Pepper over there. I didn't know about the M&M infatuation, just the Dr. Pepper. So there are three things. This studio is comprised of three things. There's M&M stuff, because I do like M&Ms. There is some Dr. Pepper stuff, because I obviously love Dr. Pepper. And there are Mr. Potato Heads everywhere. In fact, the ladies that are in my mastermind group this year just sent me a box, which I opened up during our meeting on Wednesday, and it was filled with Mr. Potato Heads. So I call it the wall of potatoes. So there's actually several different shelves in my office, and they are all various and assorted Mr. Potato Heads. So I don't know what that one's all about. Like, I can't specifically link that back to a childhood memory or anything. Maybe, but I just can't remember. But I've just, as long as I can remember, I've always had Mr. Potato Heads. And if I'm out and I see a cool one in a store, or, sometimes I see one like in an antique shop or something like that, I buy it and I bring it home. And so, yeah, so those are the things. Those are the three things. It's in my studio anyway, from a decor standpoint, there's M&Ms, there's Dr. Pepper, and there's Mr. Potato Head. Can we get a studio office tour one day? Yes, you can, after I have a chance to clean. The boo has been playing down here a lot lately during the day. And so, look, I'll show you. On the floor over here, speaking of Mr. Potato Heads, you can't hardly see it because I can't hold the camera out, but the whole floor right in front of where my desk area is right now is just covered in Mr. Potato Head stuff, because she was in here yesterday playing with Mr. Potato Heads. All right, let's see. Do you think 3 months is a reasonable amount of time to strictly focus on marketing? 8 hours plus super hard homework, right? I also bought your master classes. I think that marketing is part of the job. So marketing is going to have to be an ever-present part of your day long term. Do I think that when you are starting out, if you don't have a lot of work or you don't have access to a lot of opportunities, do you just go full bore into the marketing? Yeah, that's what I did. What else are you going to do? So I literally spent all day, every day, 5, 6, 7 days a week sending emails and doing social media. And I did that for probably 2 years because I had nothing else to do. I mean, slowly over time, I started to build up a client base, but in the beginning, my time was like 100% marketing. And then it was, 90% marketing and 10% recording. And then it was 80% marketing and 20% recording. And then it was 70-30 and 60-40 and 50-50. Now, I don't know, I spend %15 of my week maybe doing marketing. Maybe a little more. Depends on the week. I just don't have to do it as much now because I've built up the client base. So now it's just about maintaining all of those relationships. Obviously, I'm still always adding new people into the database, but I definitely don't have to do it at the scale that I had to do it previously. But in the beginning, just market. because what else, right? What else? I used to collect Rubik's Cubes back. Yeah, okay, you know what? My 16-year-old, several years ago, she started getting into Rubik's Cubes. And so every time I went somewhere, because I traveled a lot for work, conferences and things like that. And so every time I went somewhere, if I saw a cool Rubik's Cube, I would buy her a Rubik's Cube. And then it was always a competition to see how fast she could solve the thing when I brought it home for her. And so somewhere, I'm sure in her room is a box filled with Rubik's Cubes, because that was her thing that she collected. And it was fun to be able to buy those things for her. Christopher says, do you feel refreshing your LinkedIn headline to niche down to your target audience is important? Noticed a lot of talking heads recently discussing this topic. I think the most important part of your LinkedIn headline is what is initially visible in the feed. So let me do this. Dave Knoll, TV show creator. No question who Dave is and what Dave does. Anna Lawrence, voiceover artist specializing in commercial. No question what Anna Lawrence does. So that's what I'm talking about. It's what do you see in the feed? Kara, voice actor, puppeteer, creator, social media whiz. Perfect. I know everything I need to know about Kara. It's all right there. Brent, head of International Originals Canada at Amazon. Okay, I know what Brent does. So that's, to me, the most important part of your headline. What is written right here? Or what is visible right here? So if you write some sort of really creative headline or try to tell some sort of a story in your headline, but you don't get to the voice actor part until the end of your headline and it gets cut off, that can be problematic if I can't see what you do. So Aaron is the owner of AJ's Media House, voice artist. Okay, so the most important thing is right there in the beginning. So that's what I'm looking for in a headline. Teresa, professional voiceovers, commercial, e-learning, narration. Perfect. What I need to see, what I need to know is right there in the headline. So that's what I would suggest with your headline first and foremost is what appears in the feed. Does it give a clear enough picture of what it is that you do? So let's say that you do voiceover for 6 different genres. You could say voice actor for, and then you could list out the 6 genres. But my guess is you have a ranking of those genres. I do this one the most, I do this one second, I do this one third, whatever. So then just make sure that when you're doing them, you're listing them in that order. And that's why with my headline, it says voice actor for e-learning, because that's what I do the most. But documentary, that's what I want the most. So my headline shows voice actor for e-learning documentary, and then narration and more, voiceover business and marketing coach. Now, a lot of that gets cut off in the feed. But what appears in the feed is voice actor for e-learning and documentary, because those are the 2 most important things to me. Those are the 2 things that I really want people to see. So that would be my advice for you, Christopher, with your LinkedIn headline is what do you want people to see initially? Let's just, for the fun of it, should we do this? Okay, voice actor, commercials, promo, corporate explainer. And you can see how it appears in the feed. Voice actor, commercials, promo, corporate explainer, telephony. So that tells me a lot right there. That tells me that you're a voice actor. It tells me the genres of voiceover that you work in. Now, can you refine that to niche down even further if you really wanted to? I suppose if your primary use of LinkedIn was, I only want to use LinkedIn for corporate. That's it. That's all I'm doing. I'm just going to target corporate. I'm going after corporate. I'm only contacting corporate leads, whatever. Then there could be a use case made for giving corporate more prominence in the headline, pushing some of the other stuff further down. But to me right now, I think that paints a pretty good picture of who you are and what you do. And so if I'm a potential buyer, it answers the question for me. All right, guys, what else? It was rainy, but so fun at Roy's. Watching Grace get married was a great bonus. And there was a brisket, even though you didn't come. Look at that. You guys had brisket without me, you buggers. I just feel so bad about it. If you guys don't know the story, Roy was here. He was at my house. He came to Toronto for a conference in 2019. He came to my house. We did a crawfish boil. And when we were driving to my house from the airport, when I picked him up, he was doing this live stream. And in the middle of the live stream, it just spontaneously came out, Brisket 2020. We're going to do Brisket 2020 for Roy's barbecue. Well, obviously, we all know what happened in 2020. So Brisket 2020 didn't happen. Well, in 2021, there were still massive restrictions that made it incredibly difficult for me to get across the border. And so it didn't happen in 2021. And then in 2022, there was the boo. And so that made it very difficult to travel. And now we have a new baby. So, that was why I was trying to get my mother-in-law to come this year, because I'm like, I can't just pack up and leave at this point. It's just, there's been a lot of different roadblocks that have gotten thrown in the way that have prevented me from being able to make it to Uncle Roy's barbecue. But I promise I want to go. And one of these years, I am going to go. Somehow it is going to work out. Since English is the most spoken language in the world, English VO artists have like 50 auditions a day. Not the same with Japanese. Marketing advice for minor languages. Definitely that is one of the challenges. One of the things that I would think about, though, is where else is your language spoken? Obviously, in your home, I'm assuming your home country, Japan. But are there other areas where there are pockets of Japanese speaking populations? And is there content being created in those areas? So what I mean by that is English is obviously the dominant, or I think anyway, it's the dominant language in the United States, but there are areas of the United States where there are very large populations of Spanish-speaking individuals. And so there are a lot of places where both are created, an English version and a Spanish version. Canada has French, right? There are a lot of things, anything that's government pretty much has to be done in both languages, but depending on where the company is or where the audience for that video is. I work with a guy out of Quebec. He does all the French stuff. I do all the English stuff. And so are there other places where there are Japanese populations where that language may be spoken? So that would be one of the things that I would be looking at. But then the other thing is just that's where building relationships comes in. Making the connections directly with the companies that are making the hiring decisions. That would be one of the things that I would be looking at. So that they're not going to a casting site, for example, because they don't need to, because they're just thinking about you. So I think there's that. I think dubbing is an incredibly fast growing genre. It's actually one that I would love to get somebody on the podcast to talk about dubbing even further. Kay Bess talked about it a little bit in our episode, that's the thing that she started to do. But as we have all of these different streaming services that are creating all of this unique content, but then they're trying to push that content into the different markets, dubbing might also be an opportunity. And so I think that might be something to look at as well. Just get him some cool socks and all is forgiven. I've considered it. I have considered it. It is nice that he's that easy. Just buy him some cool socks. He's happy. We're all good. No worries. One of these days, I am going to get to the barbecue. All right, guys, what else? What other questions can I answer for you? Thanks for hanging out, as always. I genuinely do appreciate it. Listen to this episode with Kay. It's really good. Think about coaching with Kay as well. She's really good. She's doing a lot of cool stuff, involved in a lot of different things. I particularly enjoyed the honesty that she shared in the struggle that she had in getting into animation, and how she was submitting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of auditions before she finally started getting some opportunities. That's a legit, established, top-level talent just being honest with you about the industry and how it works and some of the challenges that we all face, regardless of where we're at in our journey or where we're at in our career. It was a really fun interview. It was a really fun conversation to have. All right, what else? I can stick around for a few more minutes if anybody has any questions. Then I got to go shopping. The Jelly Bean needs clothes. Here's the thing. If you're going to have a baby that you hadn't specifically planned on having, you should probably try to time that so that it's closer to the birth date of the first baby that you had that you weren't specifically planning on having. Because what we are finding now is, oh, well, we'll just, she can wear the booze clothes. She can wear the booze clothes. No, she can't, because they're out of season, because they were born. One was born in February and one was born in April. And that doesn't seem like it's that far away, but it makes a big difference when you're coming into winter. And so all of the warm jammies that we had from the boo when she was that size, none of them actually fit. So we have to go shopping. So that's what I have to do after Free Advice Friday. Gotta go buy my baby some pajamas. What else, guys? Any final questions? Had an interview with a Florida agent this week. Really hoping to hear back. Good things soon. There you go. Nice. Congratulations. Usually if you get to the point where they're having an interview with you, I would be feeling pretty optimistic about that. Animation is not easy for everyone to get into. We all have some things that come natural for us and things that are tough for us. That's why coaching exists. 100% animation is hard. Look, I get it. Everybody wants to be in animation. Well, I don't want to be in animation. Not that I don't want to. It's not my thing. But almost everybody wants to be in animation. But it is a hard genre. It's a hard genre to get into. Angela, thoughts on sending a snail mail follow-up to prospects, please? Yeah, I've done it before. And I think that it can work. I think everything happens digitally now. Everything lands in our inbox. Everything happens on social media. I hate Facebook Messenger. I can't even begin to express to you how much I hate Facebook Messenger. I wish that I could turn that off. Like, I honestly wish that I never had to use Facebook Messenger ever again. But look, this is the way that the world works. And so you're getting stuff by text. You're getting stuff by Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger. You're getting stuff from LinkedIn Messenger. You're getting digital notifications through all of your different social media platforms. You got people dropping in your inbox. You got people dropping in your WhatsApp, all these different things. But how many people are dropping in your mailbox? Maybe a few, but definitely not the volume that is dropping into your digital inboxes. And so I have had luck with sending snail mail postcards, branded postcards, handwritten branded postcards. And that has worked for me in the past because of the fact that there's not nearly the same level of noise in the mailbox as there is in the inbox. How can I tell if a production house does VO or just online no VO marketing so I don't waste my time reaching out doing cold calls? One of the easiest things to look at is their portfolio. Just listen to a bunch of the videos in their portfolio. Are there voiceovers on the portfolio? If you hear voiceovers on the portfolio, then there's generally we can draw from that they're probably using voiceover in some capacity. But definitely don't see it as a waste of time either. Because you never know. Yeah, they might not do it. And they might tell you straight up, well, you know what? We don't do it. But whenever there's a project that has voiceover, we actually use these guys. Well, now you just got another referral out of it. So there's that side of it too. Never hit mark on Messenger. Noted. Oh man, the problem is I have a hard enough time keeping up with my inbox already. And I don't use Facebook a lot. I go on Facebook for my group, for the VOpreneur group, and that's about it. So I will go into Facebook and check Facebook a couple times a day just to see what's going on in the group or to share something in my group, and then I'm out. Facebook is, right now, Facebook is not a fun place to hang out. Everybody's so cranky. And so people message me on Facebook and I don't always see it. And then they get upset with me because I didn't respond to their message immediately, or, I didn't see their message for a day or two. And I always feel bad about that, but I'm like, oh, if you just send me an email, I would respond to you so much faster. There gets a point when you get so many messages that it becomes almost unmanageable. I am at that point. And so it's just easier for me if it all comes into one place. Way easier for me if it all comes into one place. Good points. Not a waste of time. Look at it all as networking. That's it. It's all networking. You can learn something from every conversation that you have. And look, here's the other thing. They might tell you no today. Oh, we don't do that, or we don't, it's not something we've ever really got into. But who's to say a year down the road, a client doesn't come to them and say, we need this project and we really need a voiceover. And they're like, hey, you know what? Remember when that voice actor reached out to us by email a few months ago? Do we still have that person's name or what? Like, you just never know. If I hit their website and there is zero indication that they use voiceover, or their entire portfolio is just like talking head corporate videos or, testimonial type videos or things of that nature, then I'm probably going to skip. But if there's even a slight indication that they use voiceover or may use voiceover, I don't think I have anything to lose by asking the question. All right. One more question. I got time for one more. Hit that like button before you go, please. Please. If you've enjoyed the live stream, if I've answered your question, if I've offered any advice that you found to be deeply and profoundly insightful, I would certainly appreciate it if you would hit that like button. Thank you very much. And if anybody has one final question, speak now or forever hold your peace, as it were. This is your opportunity to get that one final question in on Free Advice Friday. For those of you that did jump in late, remember that you can go back and you can watch the replay, and I will add chapter markers to all of the different questions that were asked and answered, so it makes it a little bit easier to jump around. But every Free Advice Friday live stream replay is available. That is right here on the YouTube channel, and I've created a completely separate playlist for that as well. So it makes it easy for you to find them. So there's plenty of content for you to go through. And I always do try to go back and add the chapter markers so that you can see what specific things we talked about. So if there's something in particular that you're looking for an answer to, maybe you'll be able to find it that way as well. Don't forget about Playbook. It's available at voiceovermarketingplaybook.com. If you have any questions about Playbook, feel free to reach out to me. Remember that if you sign up today before the 7 p.m. Eastern deadline, you will get the job title bonus. And that will be sent to you automatically. Any chance you can get with Dervla and rekindle VO North? I think she's moved on from that now. I think she's doing her VO speaker series. The problem is, and this is a challenge that everybody's facing, but running a conference is not a economically viable thing to do hardly anymore. I've seen the prices because I've helped when Wovo did a mini con in Canada a few years ago. I was helping them on researching some potential hotels and putting together some quotes and stuff like that. And the prices for stuff are astronomical. And so it just, from an economic standpoint, there's not a strong value proposition to be a conference promoter these days, particularly in Canada, where everything is twice as expensive as everything is in the United States. So I think that's why she's moved to her speaker series that she's doing. Virtual is so much more easier to maintain. Definitely a lot less potential fires to have to put out, and much less likely to end up losing a ton of money on it if things don't go well or you don't sell enough tickets or whatever. So I'm not going to say that she's never going to bring VO North back, or that it's not a conversation that might happen down the road. But at this point, I don't think so. And I think we've seen that though across the board. There are not as many conferences happening as there used to be. And it's because of the economics behind it. They just aren't there. The math does not add up. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out as always. Thank you for coming and asking your questions. And hopefully I was able to answer all of your questions as well. Make sure you check out the new episode of the podcast with Kay Bess, The Evolution of Voiceover, where Kay interviews me. And we just have a really open, honest conversation about the industry and the changes in the industry and how we have managed to keep up with it, or certainly try our best to keep up with it over the years. And I think there's some lessons to be learned from both of us and for everyone in that episode. So again, that's right here on the YouTube channel or wherever you enjoy podcasts. Whatever you decide to do this weekend, as always, have fun, stay safe, and go find some leads.